All right, guys, let's face it. This past year has thrown a lot of challenges our way. But lucky for us, with new challenges come new solutions, such as Dr. Lucas Wong's 4D piano. Hello and welcome back to Meet Mozart. I'm Angie. That's Mozart. And today we are chatting with inventor and pianist Dr. Lucas Wong via his new web app, the 4D Piano Enterprise. The 4D piano was invented in order to solve one of the biggest issues that a lot of musicians are facing right now, which is how can we make music together when we can't physically be in the same space? And so through solving problems like latency, the 4D piano is here to help us make music together in real time. And I have to say that the first time that Lucas and I sat down to play around with this app together, it was like breathing a breath of fresh air to just be able to hear and make music in time together. In addition to the 4D piano, Lucas has made tons of other apps that serve to help both professional and amateur musicians, including ones that help to translate languages like Mandarin and Korean into IPA, and also a space called Cocoon, which is sort of like a private social media space where each teacher can upload their teaching materials and share things like studio recitals in a safe space and keep their musical community alive. I hope you'll take a second to check out the description below, where I've placed a lot of links to some of Lucas's other inventions, and I hope you'll take a time to check it out and maybe find something new. But until then, we will meet you in the fourth dimension. Hi, Lucas. Welcome to Meet Mozart.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're looking forward to hearing all about all the new
Mhm.
technology that you're coming up with and talk through just kind of where
Mhm.
classical music is going when it comes to technology, because I think we
Oh, yeah,
think
right?
about that stuff
Yeah.
with more like pop and of course like techno music and stuff like that, but classical music has remained pretty straightforward, and so it's interesting to see how this
Mhm.
new technology is kind of going to
Mhm.
integrate with that world.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I'm still trying to figure it out day by day, right? Um,
Always.
I I was trained as a professional musician,
Mhm.
so technology came in pretty late in my development experience.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, I think it started well, maybe last year or 2 years ago.
Uh-huh.
It's 2021 now, so I think it's safe to call 2 years ago.
Right.
I was working on some aspects of like website development
Mhm.
for my own startup, like music, entrepreneurship, right?
Mhm.
And so then I stumbled upon coding accidentally.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, and then one step after another, you're curious about what the possibilities they are.
Uh-huh.
So I went ahead and created a platform that would allow people to connect, especially during this time.
Right.
Long distance, collaboration between make piano playing uh, with singing, like
Right.
what we're about to do.
Right. Well, and I know today we're going to focus on talking about this 4D piano, but I was wondering if you could tell us, because you
Mhm.
actually started inventing before COVID
Yes.
even happened, and there were already
Right.
a lot of projects that you were working on, like the
Right.
IPA one,
Right.
and I wondered if you could just tell us about some of these other projects that you've
Sure.
been working on
Yeah.
even before all this
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah. I first got a landing page called Find Bach.
Mhm.
Uh, and by the way, Find Bach and Meet Mozart. I think they're just perfect match.
It was
Like,
only a matter of time before they came together.
exactly. And Find Bach, basically, it was at first just one app, one application on there. It had to do with music ancestry tracking. So, for example, my teachers study with Beethoven, you know.
Wow.
I'm sure everybody could trace back somehow to the past generations, one after another.
Uh-huh.
So the metaphor is, can all of us find Bach? And yeah, so that was very interesting because at that time, again, I was just self-teaching myself how to make applications or web apps online, right? So you can consider these like like composers when they compose. Like I'm sure Mozart did, right? With K1, the first piece he wrote, he was probably just working on it as an exercise.
Right.
So I would call many of my apps sort of started that way, like an exercise.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's grown. I feel like every time I talk to you, you're like, oh, I made this new app.
Right. And they all were driven by ideas, right? And visions. So they were not just arbitrarily like, oh, let's just do this exercise. No, it was like, I wanted to see if this can be achieved, right? And how that could help people. That's very important, like a solution, right? So the going phrase for Fine Bach is solutions made by musician for musician.
Right.
Yeah. So I had music ancestry, maybe some games, and then eventually I was on some kind of a 3D graphics project involving piano. And that's when 4D piano came to life.
Right.
But it caught me by surprise how much it could be applied then.
Right. Did this 3D piano and 4D piano, because you started working on it very, very early on in COVID, but were the ideas for it, was it kind of already in the making even before 2020? Oh, no, really. This was specific to the situation.
Yeah. So at first, I think it was around in March or April last year. I was just looking into some very quick gaming environment 3D graphics tool, right? Because who doesn't like 3D graphics these days?
Right.
Kids ask for it. In fact, if you don't have an app that is 3D, they won't use it. So I was trying my best to catch up with the younger generation and see what tickles them with an app. So I was thinking of maybe make a 3D piano, right? Now, of course, the fourth dimension is time.
Right.
So that's why it's called 4D. And at one point, it could play by itself, like a piano player, right? The piano roll. And that's when things got exciting, because when it can automatically play something, like sheet music or, recorded data, then you can start to dictate the time you wanted to play in.
Yeah.
Right. And so I had to learn music all over again in the language of programming.
Right.
Yeah. So I had to look at the many libraries, like program libraries, to find out how to plug in, how do you display a note here? How do you calculate tempo and rubato?
Right.
So, and what is a quarter note? What is the 16th note? What is the relationship of 3/2 time and 6/4 time? Oh my God! I felt like I was trying to give myself a lesson on music theory all over again. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's sort of reinventing. You're actually coding music. And you've put together some really sophisticated musical thing. It's not like this app just plays Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. There's really complex things for singers to sing with, and that cover, the vast array of art songs and opera arias that singers are trying to sing. So there's a huge repertoire covering everybody, from Bach all the way up to, more modern composers like Stravinsky, who has really complex harmonies and rhythms and things like that. So, making that all work in a way that we can make that music in real time.
Right. Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
So one of the unique things about the 4D piano is obviously all of this setup, all of these ways that we can make music together. But of course, the biggest issue that it solves is the latency issue.
Yes.
So how did you work through that?
Yes. So one day I was walking and was watching a car driving by. I think it was probably a Tesla car. And I thought, gee, I wonder if, Elon Musk was thinking about remote controlling cars. You know how like drones can be flown just by remote controlling it?
Right.
So I thought, well, if cars might be able to be remote controlled sometime in the future, maybe a piano could be. Well, piano is a vehicle for music. And so I thought, I'm going to go home and try and see if I can control the other person's piano. I mean, when I say piano, I mean the virtual piano.
Right.
Right. So I was looking into, because it was built upon this gaming 3D platform.
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, I thought it should work, right? Because that's how people play games. So if I kicked the ball, the goalie would have caught it, right? I mean, the gaming business should have had this worked out as far as latency, because how could they have been playing basketball, football, hockey games online? So then I thought, okay, there must be a way. And the answer is actually, the piano, since the MIDI aspect is so well documented for so many decades, right? So piano is known that it's very easy to replicate the experience by knowing the action of how fast each note is pressed and when. So basically, what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is that as I play the piano, or as I command the piano to play for me, right, it is doing the same command to you, to your piano.
Right.
Therefore, it's much faster, because literally it comes down to pressing that button.
Uh-huh.
And that button summarizes that whole chord.
Right.
That's being played. And so I think I just took that step further and then created a world where you and I could enjoy the same piano part with less of a delay.
Right.
Right. Actually, one more thing I want to say is that sometimes the latency is not the actual really big problem. The problem is double. That's always the biggest problem, is that, with acoustic instrument, it's very hard to mute one end and then hear the other end, right? So you hear a huge echo double, right? So with anything that is digital or electronic, the great thing is I can mute myself and just hear the piano part through you. Right. So there's no double, right? I think the silencing system is really helpful.
Right.
As part of this.
Yeah, and that's how you can make sure that your piano part is actually aligned with my vocal part, because you're hearing it actually when I'm hearing it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm not hearing any of my piano part as I'm playing, right? Which is the problem with acoustic instruments. There's no way to do that. You cannot mute my acoustic piano, but then let you hear it.
Right. It's all or nothing.
Yeah. So that actually makes the latency more tolerable, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Even though there is latency, like as I tap through, actually I had to anticipate slightly, right? Now, not more than an orchestra would, like an orchestra conductor would. Right. So it's not so much latency that it becomes confusing at all.
Right.
But the great thing is it's simple, because I can just say, my piano, just mute it for now, but you're going to send NG all the messages you need to send, but mute it. Right? Yeah, so that she can hear exactly what I hear. And that's another great thing, is that there's no distortion. Right? A lot of low latency software uses audio transfer, but that means there's a cost to it. The faster you transfer, the lower the quality it can only be.
Right. So cool.
Yeah, it's very fascinating. Now looking back, how I stumbled upon that. It was just really randomly one day watching a car driving by and thinking about my piano being that car.
Yeah. Great. So should we hop into showing everybody how this works?
Sure, absolutely.
All right. So it's called the 4D piano. And right now, the way that we're set up with this interview setup, you can't see the piano. So let me go ahead. I'm going to show you. We're going to spin us
Go for it.
around here. I'm just going to show where that piano is. It's right there. And I'm going to make Lucas a little smaller so you can see it. And so now I can also make that piano bigger by zooming in, and then I can play different notes, right? So
Right.
it's another great tool even for piano teachers as well, because you can walk through, here's our middle C, and still be showing them things in real time.
Yeah. Yes. So in addition to the piano, like actually having keys moving up and down, right? It also comes with the colors being shown for each note being played.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So it's great for piano teaching, especially if you have a digital keyboard anyway, right? Any note you play could be shown much more visually effectively to the student.
Right. Well, I think that's a great point to make, is that, this isn't just on here. Like, you can actually hook your computer up with a MIDI cord to your piano, and you can play notes on your piano, and that will also show up in the colors across the keyboard. So you can, without having to click directly on this piano, you can actually be clicking on your own if you have that set up, which is an awesome thing.
And sometimes I've had feedbacks that they said this sound better than their own piano.
All right, guys, so now we're going to show you how a singer and a pianist can work together on this. And Lucas, if you just kind of want to walk us through what you're doing on your end and how that all works.
Right. So what I'm using today is a remote, a wireless presenter, right? And so what I do is I actually click the forward button, and that would trigger each beat in the piece, right? So yeah, it's actually great tools to just even get to know the piece, like 1, 2, 3, 4. So I just go click, 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 click. So the moment I click, a sound will be made. Let's just try it actually. In fact, I'll just click once. Right? It came through. Yeah.
But if you don't have a remote, can you also use it, and how does that work?
You could use the space bar on the keyboard. Yeah, the space bar would work. Some people even have these page turn pedals.
Okay.
So they can tap the page turn pedal while they're playing, especially like violin or saxophone.
Oh, sure.
They only have two hands, right? They're both working at the same time.
Right.
So the way to self-accompany, I guess, is by using the foot to tap. Actually, there's a secret too with the pedal on the MIDI keyboard.
Oh, okay.
The left pedal does the same job.
Oh, really?
Yes. So you could be like playing, and you're like, oh, I feel like playing a duet now with 4D. So like, you're playing, and then 4D has another piece playing. You can literally use the left foot to trigger the music at the same time.
Wow.
It's like your duet partner.
Yeah, and there's a couple ways that you've put music already in this system, right? Like you yourself have gone through scores and actually coded in the music of a ton of different pieces. But then also, if we wanted to do something that you didn't have on that file, then our other option would be using that piano connected to the MIDI, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. So there's a repertoire that already exists, and also a way to enter new repertoire as well. Exactly.
Yeah. See, the vision I had for this piano was that anything that 88 keys should be able to produce should be able to be done here.
Yeah.
Right? So you can think of it like a piano, actually. The piano could be played by a human, right? Playing it. Or it could play by itself. So I guess I'm trying to serve both purposes, especially, when it comes to collaborating with another musician. Some people prefer one way or than the other. just purely by choice or what they have.
Right, right. Fabulous. All
Yeah,
right, so
yeah.
shall we take this thing for a whirl and show them? So
Sure.
we're going to sing this is an aria from Mark Blitzstein's opera Regina. And we've already sort of programmed that in, but what we're going to do is play through it and also record what we're playing. And then from there, we're going to transfer that file into the 4D app, which I'll
Mm-hmm.
show you on my phone, so that I can actually accompany myself also with this app. So, but first, we're going to do it together.
Right.
And yeah, I hope you enjoy it and you'll see how this whole thing works. What will it be for me? Will someone say I love you? What will it be to be the one to say I love you? Will it be all real and right? And how will it feel to really love a perfect stranger? Look in his eyes and look and kiss the perfect stranger. I cannot imagine it quite. It's like nothing else before, the opening of a door to the light. I stand at the door and wait and wonder who'll come knocking. Who'll stand outside and wait and wonder, will I open to a dazzling light? My life is waiting for me. I wonder what will it be? I did is I open up the 4D app and then I go to the little plus on the corner and it's pulling into my files and I see here that I have the Blitzstein that we just recorded, so I'm going to open that up.
Right.
And
I
now
emailed that to you, right?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
that you emailed
Yes.
to me. And so now I've got this track all set up. This is a recording of the piano that Lucas just played. But I think I'm going to do something a little bit different. I am going to take it down a step, which will be exciting to see how that feels because I've never tried that before. And then I'm going to play through this and show you some of the things that you can do on the app. So here we have speed, so I could do it, oh, let's do it super fast. Let's try it.
Sure. Give it
Super
a whirl.
fast, a whole tone down, and we're going to play around here. What will it be for me? Will someone say I love you? But I want to hold this one out for a long time, so I'm going to pause it. What will it be to be the one to say I love you? I got ahead.
Great job.
All right. Maybe with my earphones, it'll be a little easier. All right, I'm going to take this back down now. And also the cool thing is that if there's a spot here, say this is always the spot where I have trouble and I want to make a marker to be able to go back to that spot really easily. I click my star, and then we see how there's this little 38 here over by the play sign. So now at the 38th second of this recording, that's going to be my go back to spot. So if I need to do it again, I want to sing a little bit further, but I've decided, oh, I kind of messed that up. Let me go back to my 38. I can go back to my 38 and start that all over again. Perfect.
Yes.
All right.
I mean, the memory part is very interesting. It can loop back to a certain place, right?
Uh-huh.
And then there's another star at the speed level.
Oh, right.
And how that works is it remembers the speed. Like, it remembers the percentage.
Oh.
So for example, like, you're like, okay, the whole piece should be 97%, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, sometimes you deviate, right? Let's say you're doing a chalarando or retardando, right?
Right.
So that helps you to snap back to your a tempo. I guess we can call it a tempo button. So the remembering of the tempo, and then the a tempo button will give you the back to a tempo without finding the a tempo again.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm remembering at 97, and then I'm going to speed it up to something outrageous here.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do 197, right?
Let's try it. Yeah.
It's for fun. And then right, so we're really moving now, but I've decided, okay, that's the end of that accelerando section. Right, and so now we're back into my 97 tempo.
Yes.
Yeah. I also love, one of my favorite features that you have is that if I hit the play button, well, let me go back to the beginning here so I know where we are. But I'm not quite ready to start yet, so I'm going to hit the stop button. And then if I want his to line up with me exactly, I just go back to hitting this little forward arrow, and it's going to take me to the next chord drop. So even though we've given all of this time, I'm going to now go, what will it be for me? Will someone say I love you? What will it be to be the one to say I love you? And so I have all this control to make the app do whatever I want. If I want to add a ton of fermatas, which fermata just means holding out the note forever, like I did, I can do that. And what's great about this actually is, you know, I come from the angle where I play piano, but I've said it on my YouTube channel before, I don't consider myself a pianist. And in working on some of this music, it's so complicated pianistically that I would never even approach sitting down and really trying to play through the piano part. And one of the great benefits here with this is that because I'm in control, I get to know the piano part and the timing of your part in such a different way, because I've got to line up whatever I'm doing with what I'm trying to achieve here on the app. And so it's interesting that it's sort of even giving singers a different skill level, or just a way to sort of be attentive in a different way. You know, we always depend on our collaborative pianist to just be able to pick us up wherever we are, and amazing ones like yourself do that because it's just what you do, you know. But in this, you know, having to become so aware of on a different level, we had to be aware before, but
Mhm.
on a different level, becoming aware of what exactly the piano is doing and working it through with ourselves. So this is really cool. I'm really excited about this invention, and I think and it's become so handy too, especially over this time period again, because usually we have in-person auditions, and all of us as singers have had to do recorded auditions for everything that we're doing. And when you're just trying to play off of a piano track that you have no control over, you can't really be in the moment. You have to be in the moment that the piano player was in when they recorded it. And so here we've got this extra level that we can be as creative. If you're feeling that note and it's musically correct to take that time, you can feel that and you can take it and still line yourself up exactly with where the piano left off, which is really tricky, especially when you're doing recordings that have a lot of those fermatas in the piano part. I was doing a recording the other day, and the fermatas are in the piano part, and then I have to come in out of nowhere and time that out. And so to have the ability to go, okay, I felt this, and now we're going to enter together is such a big deal and such a blessing, and like you said, such a help.
Yeah, I'm really glad that
Yeah.
that this is the latest tool we have and it's really helpful. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
This is
Mhm.
interesting because now we've discovered this way that we can rehearse in like a low latency way
Mhm.
and keep
Mhm.
in time with each other and work together. And
Mhm.
I'm curious to know, like, where do you see this technology going, like, once, we're
Mhm.
released
Yeah,
from quarantine and
right.
all of that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it will certainly help organizations to put their plans back in place
Mm-hmm.
and business plan back in place. And what I mean is,
Mm-hmm.
I know that budget is going to be very tight when the
Right.
time it comes that you know productions are happening again.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not impossible then that one could start it in a hybrid way, just so that they could save money
Mm-hmm.
with especially lodging and
Right.
traveling, right? If someone could connect with the singer early on
Right.
and work out some tempo and
Mm-hmm.
interpretation just using this kind of tool, then it would save them some rehearsal time when they're actually, when the singer actually flies into, for example, the Met, right?
Right.
And do the real rehearsal.
Right.
So I think COVID sort of was a wake up call for musicians to find new ways
Yeah.
to connect,
Mm-hmm.
and in some ways, I think we can take away a lot of positive things out from this.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, had COVID not happened, no one would have tried to, you know, request me to keep improving this service,
Right.
right? Because there is a real need, right? And so every day I listen to all the feedbacks and
Mm-hmm.
people's comments and think of ways to make the app more and more robust and
Right.
easy to scale.
Right. Well, and that's one of the things that I love about, getting to have this interview and this talk at this point in the stage of development is that, you're still living in it every day,
Mhm.
and you're so wonderful about taking, like, oh, what if it did this, or what if it did that, and like yesterday we were prepping for the interview, and there was like a little light that would shine whenever you played the piano, and today there's no light, that you're just so much a part of it, that
Right.
for anybody who's using it,
Mhm.
if you just reach out, you'll, I know you listen so well, and
Yeah.
do, whatever you can and whatever
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I somehow had the passion both for music and how technology could help music,
Uh-huh.
and certainly not conventional. I think a lot of people are surprised, and I hope to change their mind too about approaching people who work in the tech world,
Mm-hmm.
because oftentimes when they see a product, they think, oh, if I give them a feedback, who am I? Like,
Right.
where is my email gonna go? They probably won't listen to me if they don't have this song and I ask for it. It's not gonna come in 3 days, is it? They probably go through rounds of approval and all this and that. And by that time, COVID is over. But I hope that the way that I do my interaction with people using it would change their mind about now of new trends of and how I think more and more of this will come.
Yeah.
And musicians, I think, will have slightly different careers after COVID.
Yeah, I think most likely.
And I mean, people will do make multiple different skills work together. Right. And so it's not going to be all about, okay, let's just leave it up to the big companies like Google and let them solve it. No, I think it's our time, it's our chance now to what someone told me, and it's true. We make our profession every single day.
Yeah.
Like we literally make it. I mean, nobody made it, and we just have to do it.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Lucas, for chatting with us today and for teaching us all about all of this great technology. And I'm excited to see what you come up with next.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Great. Yeah. Great.
Thank you so much to Dr. Lucas Wong for sharing your time with us, for introducing us to this great technology, and for creating something that can be so helpful during this time. And thank you to you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you know what to do. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, push all the fun buttons, including that little notification bell, and we will see you next time. Bye.